It often fascinates me how, throughout the annals of time, we focus on historical characters and figures and how their relationships have shaped the places and the way in which we live. But less often do we focus on the buildings and the landmarks and their relationships too. Not only are those relationships fascinating, but they can last hundreds of years. Take, for example, behind me, the St. Giles Church, a Norwich landmark without question, even mentioned in the Domesday Book. The founder was a priest called Elwyn, which leads me to the perfect opportunity to offer you a warm welcome to Elwyn House. Now, if I can tear you away from arguably the nicest outlook of any city home I've seen for a while, the history within Elwyn House is worth just as much attention. There's something quite calming, isn't there, quite embracing about being part of such tangible and fascinating history. As a result, the accommodation throughout, as you'll see, has a completely eclectic character, all sorts of definitions around each reception. Speaking of which, I'm going to take you straight to what I think is my favourite. There's something about a room like this, isn't there? It's hard to put your finger on, but when you feel so connected to a richly historic and busy part of the city, given how deeply historical the home is, you'd be forgiven for thinking that maybe it doesn't lend itself to a modern way of life. But you'd be wrong. The delightfully modern kitchen with the breakfast bar offers a more sociable, more open way of living. Combining that with all the versatile receptions and bedrooms we find, it starts to tell the story of a truly idiosyncratic home, but also fully capable of being a companion to a modern way of living. You can't help but feel an internal sense of joy when you're winding up the stairs at Elwyn House. It's so diverse that you never know what's around each corner, but what you do know is it's going to be a treat. How's this for a bedroom? High ceilings, reams of natural light, loads of volume, and of course a view like that. Inner city living, it doesn't get much better than this. Now, I know as agents we're meant to be entirely objective and not have favourite bedrooms, but when you're up in a space like this, you can't help but be charmed by the personality of it. We're right up amongst the rooftops. It feels more like a den you'd build when you were a child. It's got this kind of youthful joy about it. And take a look at this too. And as always, what goes up must come down, and we don't often show cellars in videos, but in this instance, I insist, follow me. I brought you down here, one, because it's a great space, but two, it tells another fascinating story. Elwyn House was once the home of the silversmith in Norwich. His residence was above here where we stand now, but the shop was just next door, and the two cellars used to interlink, and this was where he kept all the silver. And don't for a minute think that the cellar is the only surprise that Elwyn House has to offer. Experiencing that from such a refined, such a calm setting, quite insular almost. The balance is almost irreplicable, but when you find it, you can't help but drop your shoulders and want to stick around for hours.